This video is the book on the Minelab Equinox. Yes, I know it's technically a video, but I'm going to show you everything that I know about the Minelab Equinox. But why should you listen to me?
Oh, would you look at that? Oh, he collects detectors. Yeah, let's listen to him.
Generally speaking, we can tell when a person is BSing, which is short form of saying bullshitting. I'm not going to BS you here, that is a promise. And I will tell you right off the bat that the Minelab Equinox is the best detector that I have ever used in my life, period. Which leads us to the most important letter of the alphabet. Yeah, the one right before Z. What is it?
Wouldn't that be the letter Y?
That's right. This video is going to cover why I consider it to be the best detector that I've ever used. Now let's discuss the inevitable. I am a talking head, okay? I'm on a screen. I'm not sitting here in front of you doing this rant, okay? I'm a talking head. Now, a lot of the talking heads that you witness in your life, they have not been honest. Anyone and everyone in politics, I'm going to be honest. And you can tell that I'm being honest because if you look back at my videos, the detector that I am using the most, and forget back, moving forwards, the detector that I'm going to use, it's going to be the Equinox until I find something better. There are so many reasons that I like this detector, and I'm going to have to start with one. Oh, let's shock you a little bit. The reason that I like this detector so much, the My Little Pony algorithm. What the hell is he talking about? The Minelab Equinox is a detector that can detect in multiple frequencies at once. If you're hell-bent on detecting in one frequency, and many people are, like, oh, I don't like this multi-frequency nonsense, guess what? You could do one frequency at a time if you wish. It's easy, it's configurable, you could turn them off. I don't like to turn them off. Taste the frickin' rainbow. We are moving into the age of AI, artificial intelligence. For example, the stock market. Did you know that 60% of the purchases and sells that happen over the course of a day are by robots? And these robots have very smart programming, best practices that are programmed in it to minimize mistakes. And the Minelab Equinox and the algorithm that it uses to successfully marry multiple frequencies at once is absolutely brilliant and cutting edge. Now, interestingly enough, when you do a search for multi-frequency metal detectors, you don't sometimes get multi-frequency metal detectors. Now, there are detectors such as the XP that can go one frequency at a time, but you have a whole entire range of frequencies that you can use. Same thing with the Nocta Macro Amphibio. You have a whole choice of frequencies, but you only get to do them one at a time. What we are looking for is simultaneous multi-frequency detectors with a brilliant algorithm that marries those frequencies. That's the Equinox. All of the companies that exist are rushing to react to the Equinox. An example, the Garrett Apex. That is a multi-frequency, a simultaneous multi-frequency detector that is coming out. Yes, I bought it. It's supposedly on the way. I can't wait to get my hands on that. The companies that did not spend on research and development, they went the way of White's Electronics, sadly. So you know how I feel about the My Little Pony algorithm that has multiple frequencies, multiple bands married together, just working as one. Oh, it's phenomenal. That was reason one. Reason two is the processor and the processing speed, which gives us the target separation. You get supernatural target separation with this detector. Now, if you're new to metal detecting, you might be asking yourself, Well, what's target separation? Let me show you. So this is an excerpt from the video Trash Masks Treasure. Metal detecting in trashy areas, a fun case study in target masking.
Did you ever get mixed signals from somebody that you dated?
You are so handsome, but in a homely sort of way. Like, I think we should go out on a date. On February 30th, or how about September 31st?
And mixed signals or target masking are equally annoying during metal detecting. For the sake of good and healthy communication, let's take a look at what a masked signal is. Les signals de masque.
So let's do an example right now, and then we will go to the case study in the live video. So we got a quarter right here. Now let's see how it rings up on the Nocta alone. $87, $88. Now let's add a pull tab in.
There's a huge difference in that signal.
Very different signal that leads a lot more towards something that you would not really dig. And one of these little things, it's going to throw off everything. You add a bunch to it, which is basically New York, you get this. Something that jumps around like crazy.
So nowadays, I'm happily married to the most wonderful lady in the world. But for the purposes of this video, let me ask you a rhetorical metal detecting question. If someone that you are dating gives you mixed signals, what do? That's right. You separate. Now we're going to go over target separation.
So think of it this way. Two objects that are within the span of a coil are going to give you problems. If it's further than a coil length, comes down to target separation.
There's no detector on the market that is going to totally negate the effects of iron. Like if you have a bottle cap right next to a quarter, you're going to hear both because of the lack of target separation that happens and the masking that in turn happens. The way that you get around that the best is smart algorithm, processor speed that is fast, and coil size.
But I'll tell you, this detector is supernatural. So here's a quarter. We're going to put it down in here. Let's see. There's just a way that when you're in the park, you could like shimmy it around to figure out what's there. I'm even using the oversized coil, and we'll get to the coils in a second. Oh. See that? You can tilt the coil and you get closer to the quarter signal. There's just angles with this machine, and it's so sophisticated with that. It's another level with target separation, and it eliminates a lot of the masking.
Some of the sound got drowned out there, and basically what you just saw me do was turn the angle of the coil, and as it was facing the quarter, I got a repeated signal, even though less than an inch away were two bottle caps and one beaver tail pull tab. So we were able to get to close to a signal that was close to a quarter signal. That's amazing. And in real, that was simulated right there, and that was on the surface. But I'm telling you, what this detector can do, it's like none other. You just change the angle. You get an interesting signal that you're not sure of what it is. You just change the angle. You turn yourself. Maybe you turn your, rotate 90 degrees, and you sweep. You change angles, and you could figure out exactly what it is and where it is. That is next level. Reason number 3 why I love this detector. you have the option of purchasing additional coils. There is a sniper coil, a 6-inch coil that you can attach instead of the standard coil that is meant to eliminate the target separation. I said that wrong. That is meant to eliminate the target masking, not the separation. That would be bad. Eliminate the masking because coil size, it directly corresponds with the spacing of the objects. And I just showed you that test with the supersized coil, the 15-inch coil, the jumbo coil. You could make target separation more obvious, with a much smaller coil. And there are coils that are available for this detector, and really you need them all. I live in New York City. We have objects like crazy. Pick any park. You could spend a lifetime digging out that park. There is too much stuff in New York. It's not a bad thing. And the tools that you really need that help are the sniper coil, the 6-inch coil, and the 15-inch coil. To sum up this part, let me just make it really simple. You go to a trashy park, you want the sniper coil, you want the 6-inch coil. If you go to a park that has deep signals or sparse signals or a beach, great for beaches, you need the 15-inch coil. Because think about it, it is covering a surface, it covers more of the surface. Like if you're painting a picture, you could use that little brush and it'll take forever, or you use a bigger brush. This is just like using a bigger brush. If you have that park that has sparse signals but deep, you want that. You want the oversized coil. Now, there's many more things that I like about the Equinox that we are going to go over in this video. But since we're talking about coils, this is the perfect time to discuss what I think is the biggest weakness of the Equinox. It is my belief that simultaneous multi-frequency metal detectors don't have the same depth as single frequency detectors. I could be wrong about that. It is a debatable concept that I'm saying. But here's me pulling a 1.5 foot target at the beach with the Minelab Equinox.
Okay, look at this. This is crazy. Look at how deep that is. Let's throw this down. That pinpointer is 8 inches. So we just found a car. Look at that. That might be a 1.5 foot down.
So I found this helpful article online, and I'm going to link to it in the video description. So why is frequency important? This article goes on to say both pulse induction and beat frequency oscillator type metal detectors use frequency of electronic fields or pulses sent into the ground. Different frequencies have different advantages and disadvantages when metal detecting. Metal detector frequencies range between 3 and 100 kilohertz as a general rule. Now look at low frequency. Have longer wavelengths. Gets greater depth as long waves penetrate the ground more easily. Better for detecting high conductivity targets like silver. Not good for finding smaller targets. Not good for low conductivity targets like gold or iron. Now it goes on to say high frequency have shorter wavelengths, great for detecting small objects like tiny gold nuggets, better for low conductivity targets like gold and iron. Less depth is achieved than low frequency, higher accuracy closer to the surface, more sensitive to ground mineralization interference. And this is really interesting too. Most hobby detectors use a middle ground to try to get the best of both frequencies in the Goldilocks zone. That's an astronomy term for finding planets that you could live on. But it makes sense here, around the 6 to 8 kilohertz for best depth and sensitivity trade-off. That's probably with coin-sized targets. Some detectors even let you manually set the frequency on your detector. Others even use multiple frequencies at one time, like the Equinox, like the Apex, and like the Vanquish. Like I said before, New York is a place with many, many signals. You could literally spend a lifetime in a single park. that might be an exaggeration, but if it's a big park, yes. Long story short, I've used the Equinox in parks. I've used it on the beach. It is deeper on the beach because of the sparsity of the signals. When you take it to one of the more jam-packed parks, that there's little pieces of iron or little pieces of various metals that are in the ground, it does not go as deep. I would say that you can pull a 9-inch, if you're lucky, dime signal. That is the absolute limit to the depth, more closer to 8. I would say quarters, maybe about 9-10 inches. And this is with the standard coil. My take on this is that brilliant algorithm does not know if it should lock onto the deeper signals. And here's the thing, you might not even get those if you are in an area that has a lot of other signals. So it's definitely tougher to do that in the first place. But it's a sure shot, an absolute sure shot from anywhere from 1 to 7 inches. It's just taken. It's so easy. And then there is the outer range, which goes from 7 to 10 inches. And it could get distracted. It's like, I always joke about my ADHD on the channel, but it's very much like that. It's like, wait, which one do I tune into? And yeah, you can kind of, turn it like the trick that I showed you, but it's tougher to get those deeper signals. Now, I said we're doing this with coils. This was my thought after the coil. If you have the extra sized coil, there's the number one thing that you could do to get more depth on any detector is to increase the coil size. Bigger coil, deeper signals, but less target separation. Now let's get to some other reasons that I like this detector, and let's keep this simple. The weight is less than 3 pounds. Before this, I swung a Minelab Safari. Oh my God, my shoulder was going to fall off then. But this is nice and light. It's not XP Deus light. It's not Garrett AT Pro light. But this is an overlooked thing. You get tired if you swing a heavy detector. You spend more time out with a lighter detector. The battery life.
Keeps on restarting. What the hell?
Let's be fair. I got this a year ago, and I've used it probably 5 years worth. And Minelab, although I have not taken advantage of it, and I really need to, Minelab will replace the battery for free. I think that is phenomenal. And I just have to send it in. But the thing is, I can put a battery pack. I can strap a battery pack to it, and it'll stay in its current form, and it'll work. But I just can't not have it. Like it's that important of a tool. It's my best detector. Now I could still remember when I started with the Equinox, I struggled with pinpointing at first. It was wildly different than the Safari. But now, a year later, it's really easy. And they've got this circular thing in the middle of the screen that I find really helpful. Let's take a look.
Here's the dream signal.
Ergonomically speaking, I like that the pinpoint button's right in the center of the device. What I like the most, though, is the semicircle that illuminates when you have the target under the center of the coil. Makes it very easy to pinpoint. And there's the example of the semicircle. So I was going to do a segment on this, on the different, modes in the detector, but I'm going to leave that for my website, which is iratemetaldetectors.com. And it's very empty right now, but I'm getting the research in so that I can
really tell the differences between the detectors, but the goal eventually is to build it to the point where it teaches you how to use them, all of the different functions for the various detectors that are on the market. One-stop shop. But I'm going to save that for separate videos that's going to go on a page. It's just easier to navigate when it's text and video. Generally speaking, the modes that I use are Park 2 and Beach 1. And Park 2 because I know it's for the smaller objects. It says in the manual. I feel that I have been able to hear everything. And one of the tricks that I do with the Equinox is I swing it very slowly. My suggestion to you is you want to move very slowly with that detector. And it's better to hear things than to not hear things because you can react to it. In other words, if there is like a little, small piece of a soda can that is around a target, I would rather hear that. And just like I showed you with the quarter before and the masking, I want to be able to react to it. So that helps with that. I think that the other modes do go a little bit deeper. Field mode, I really haven't used too much. Maybe I should experiment a little bit more. This is after a year, and each one of these detectors is it's a universe in itself, to master and know all of the different things. But I've had good results with Park 2 and Beach 1. Ground balancing. Now this is a hairy topic with the Equinox because the auto ground balance, it used to zap the depth. I'm going to say used to. And I've been advised by other detectorists and in forums, you don't want to you don't want the auto ground balance to be on. You want to manually ground balance the detector. That was true in previous versions, but each time they came out with a new update, where you plug your detector into the computer and basically the algorithm gets even better. Each one of these has gotten even better over time to the point where I find myself using the auto ground balance. But all that has been fixed, and think about it. You plug your detector in and that algorithm gets better. Each one of those upgrades have truly been upgrades. And I love the latest one that you get the 4 kilohertz. That really helps with the deep silver coins. And it's just further perfection of the best product on the market. I'm very happy with it. Last thing that I'm going to say, last topic on this detector before I wrap up, is the differences between the 600 and the 800. Right off the bat, the 800 has more frequencies, but it is the frequencies that help you find gold. There's an extra mode that you get. You get the gold mode. I'm in New York State. We don't exactly have gold mines here. A New York gold nugget is a gold ring at the beach, okay? And you do fine with those with just the regular frequencies. We're talking, small nuggets. That's what it would be able to pick up. We got too much aluminum foil, even if we did have them here, which we don't. The other thing that you get with the 800 that you don't get with the 600 is more variability in the recovery speeds and more, you could choose the sounds. There's a few auto programs that you can save a favorite program, stuff that really was not that important to me. The other thing that you get, I'll get back to the recovery speeds. That is important. But the other thing that you get is a pair of wireless headphones. And I detect without headphones. I don't really like headphones. I need to be able to hear what's around me. And especially when I'm doing the narration for videos, it doesn't help you if you have your headphones on because you can't really hear your voice. It's just
It's something I don't like. So I went for the 600. I have no regrets whatsoever. Now the recovery speeds, it's all in the same thing. So for instance, you have 8 recovery speeds on the 800. You have 3 recovery speeds on the 600. But it's like cutting a pizza in 8 versus 3. It's still a pizza. So you could say, all right, I want this to be 33% faster or 66%. Um, versus like in eighths, something that's divided by 8. And to me, just, paying the extra $150 wasn't really worth it. Is there a difference in the quality of detection with it? Yes, if you are in a gold bearing state, but for New York, you don't really need an 800. A 600 will do a really good job. And one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is purchasing a Minelab Vanquish. It's a multi-frequency detector. It's the same technology that is in the Equinox, with less of the bells and whistles, less of the buttons and variability from what I hear. I want to see how that compares to the Equinox. The Minelab Equinox is the best detector that I've ever used because I've gone over the same ground with different detectors, and what gets illuminated by the Equinox, it just does not exist with other detectors. It's almost like they're phantom signals with other detectors, and they're clear as day with the Equinox. And it's that algorithm mostly. The way that they put that together is art. It is just art. It can get stuff that other detectors don't. To the point where now I'm seeing, as I go to the beaches, the detectors pre-Equinox, so we're talking about mid 2018, it's a game changer. There's no such thing as sanded in anymore, I don't think. It gets those deep signals at the beach. And, I've tried with my old beach detectors. It's not the same thing. It is not the same thing. I've gone with the White's Beach Hunter. Great detector. It's gotten me so many rings, and I'll find a few coins. Then I'll go back over that ground and I'm like, wow, there were a lot of coins that I missed. And I'm talking about going over the same spots. You get a little bit deeper, you get a little bit clearer. I'm telling you, the range, the magic range, it's like 1 to 7 inches. You get everything there. You don't quite get those deep signals, the deepest of the deep signals. That's what you give up with this detector. But there's plenty of those mid-range ones that make up for it. The perfect detector is the Equinox if it could go a little bit deeper. That's my opinion right now, but it's the best. It is the best detector. You need a little bit more depth on it, get the extra large coil. There's always a way that you could reconfigure and get the results that you want. So as metal-detectors.com continues to evolve, really the focus question right now that I'm trying to answer is there a better detector on the market than the Equinox? There could very well be, but I have not found it yet. As for today, August of 2020, it's the Equinox, most definitely. Thanks for watching, everybody.